wheelhouse because I'm about to say something that we haven't said, I don't know, in about 17 years. Alabama has a problem. And by have a problem, I'm going to say three things. One, they've tried it out 3 quarterbacks, can't find one they like. Their offensive line has issues, and they needed a late interception to get out of Tampa alive.
Man, I agree. I think right now you have to say that the Tommy Rees hire has been a complete and total failure. I mean, what Tommy Rees is doing is coaching malpractice. I've never seen anything like it, and I realize Nick Saban is there, and I'm not trying to deflect the blame from him, but Rees is the offensive coordinator, and he is in charge of that offense. And there's not much he can do about the offensive line other than find a quarterback that can mask the problems. And he had that quarterback. As much as we can criticize Jalen Milroe and say, well, Jalen Milroe may not be able to get Alabama to a national championship, I don't think that's the issue any longer. I think it's salvaging this season. And without injury, the idea that we have seen 3 quarterbacks in a very quick 2-week period is unprecedented, and it's quite frankly embarrassing. And because that means that the coaching staff, completely has misfired. And there is no easy solution when you make as many mistakes as they have. But they better find something pretty quickly because they go up against a dynamic offense and a pretty good defense this week. So
I was stunned that they didn't have a package for Milroe at all yesterday, at all. Like, hey, Rees, come up with 15 ball plays in a game where you couldn't do anything and weather that sucked to get the guy that's more athletic to come out there. I have a theory, and this is complete speculation and a theory. My theory is that Saban went with Buckner because he came with the offensive coordinator, and it was like, all right, well, this is your offense, this is your quarterback, we're going to give it a shot. My theory is they just completely already moved on from both. Like, hey, man, your quarterback's not seeing the field again. All right, so he's out. And then Ty Simpson didn't look. I just can't figure out what they were doing with the fact that you've got a guy that you at least know is athletic. Like, help me understand this.
Well, no, Matt, there is no easy way to understand it. I mean, I have friends that are calling for the 4th-string quarterback who's a promising freshman. I mean, that's how ridiculous this is. But I mean, I sat with Nick Saban in Nashville, and I have never heard a guy profess more love for a coach than he did for Tommy Rees. And I'm not going to get too deep into the psychological world, but I mean, he really believed him. He saw something in this guy. And I don't know what Nick Saban really saw in him because, I mean, I've seen the same quarterback. He saw much more of Buckner than we did. And I agree with you. I mean, I'm telling Buckner, go find another school. I can't take a chance on you again. And the only thing I could theorize is that Milroe handled his demotion poorly and Saban was sending a message. But what he really has to worry about now, Matt, is that locker room. It, and everyone watching and listening knows it. The players look to a quarterback. That's the leader. And now you have just completely made a disaster out of the most important position. And this is 2 weeks after everyone, including us, we were praising Milroe after 1 week. So, I mean, he didn't become the greatest coach of all time by accident. And the clock is ticking for him to save this season. And what really is even more disturbing to some of my friends who watch these things is that Saban, Matt, he kind of looks like a grandfather at his grandson's little league games, and the guy drops a pop fly and costs him the division, and he walks up and hugs him and says, "I'm proud of you guys." I mean, that's exactly what he said after the game. I'm proud of the way they fought back. Other than the fact that it was the worst performance Alabama has had in a win, 17 years. I mean, people were comparing it to the 2007 lost to Louisiana Monroe. I mean, that's the context of how bad this was for Alabama.
Yeah, and you wonder if they're going to be able to flip that Alabama switch now that they're going to get heavily into conference, and Ole Miss coming up next. That's going to be one to watch, because if you're asking me to compare these two teams, Ole Miss looks, I mean, they've got their quarterback in Jackson Dart. They've got their stuff figured out. And, you know, I just don't, I didn't think we'd, I mean, this is a guy, I said this on College Football Final at some point during television yesterday. This is a coach in a school coming off Tua Tagovailoa, first-round pick, Mac Jones, first-round pick, Bryce Young, number one overall pick, and now you've got three guys.
Only Jalen Hurts on the front end of that.
Give me something I can feel. Light a cigarette just so I can breathe.